Can the Prime Minister guarantee that he will not sell out Britain's fantastic farmers to Donald Trump in a trade deal that undermines our high food and animal welfare standards in the way that the Conservatives sold them out in the Australia and New Zealand deal?
Something happened in Parliament that will haunt Starmer forever. Keir Starmer wasn't merely challenged. He was cornered, exposed, and politically stripped bare. But here's the twist. It didn't come from one direction. The attacks came from all sides, left, right, and center. One by one, MPs rose and struck where it hurt most. Still, Starmer stood reciting scripted lines as the chamber burned around him. Laughter echoed, leaving him visibly humiliated. So what was said that silenced him? And what went unsaid that may torment him for months? In this video, let's uncover it. Keir Starmer entered Parliament trying to wear two hats, the noble global statesman and the domestic reformer. He wore neither convincingly and was burned by both. Ed Davey launched the assault with a question any serious leader would treat urgently. Why is the Social Care Commission meant to fix one of Britain's most broken systems, moving at a glacial pace while its chair, Baroness Casey, finds time to moonlight in another national scandal over grooming gangs?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I echo the Prime Minister's opening remarks about the Southport killings and Holocaust Memorial Day? Can I particularly join him in expressing our immense relief at the release of Emily Damari and celebrate the fact she's back with her mum, Mandy, and the rest of her family. Let's hope we get all the hostages released as soon as possible and the ceasefire turns into a lasting peace. Mr. Speaker, last week I urged the Prime Minister to speed up the Social Care Commission so we can get the changes people need implemented this year. The very next day, it was announced the chair of the Social Care Commission was also going to chair another important inquiry into grooming gangs. So the Prime Minister says that the job of chairing the Social Care Commission is so enormous that it's not possible to complete it within 3 years. Yet he also says that the chair of that commission, Baroness Casey, has got enough free time over the next few months to chair another inquiry. Very good point. Can the Prime Minister explain how both these things...
Starmer's response was deliberately vague. He insisted both roles were manageable and did not interfere with one another.
Mr. Speaker, Baroness Casey is well placed to conduct the audit into grooming gangs, given her hard-hitting report on exploitation in Rotherham. It does not, he raises the issue, it does not affect her work on the Independent Commission on Adult Social Care, which begins in April. But as he knows, that report, the first part of that report will report next year, so we can deliver recommendations as we receive them. And he knows that already we're introducing fair pay agreements, providing more money for the social care funding, and putting up the allowance. So we're already taking steps. There'll be a two-part report. We will act on the recommendations as they arrive. But this...
Let's be honest. You don't casually juggle a national care crisis and a grooming scandal. These are enormous responsibilities demanding total focus. Yet Starmer treated them like routine meetings. Either he's lying about the seriousness of social care reform, or he's outsourcing it like a box-ticking bureaucrat. That's why Ed Davey pressed again, insisting Starmer clearly isn't true.
Ed Davey. I still don't think the Prime Minister is making social care reform the priority that it needs. It's urgent. And so I'm going to keep coming back.
Ed Davey didn't stop there. He pressed harder, asking if Starmer would guarantee not to sacrifice British farmers in future Trump trade deals.
But Mr. Speaker, turning now to the United States, can the Prime Minister guarantee that he will not sell out Britain's fantastic farmers to Donald Trump in a trade deal that undermines our high food and animal welfare standards in the way that the Conservatives sold them out in the Australia and New Zealand deal?
Given what happened with Australia and New Zealand, where British farmers were sold out for cheap imports and hollow photo ops, it was a serious question. Yet Starmer replied with the most robotic line in his playbook: "We will never lower our standards."
Mr. Speaker, we will work with the US, we will work with other countries, but we will never...
That's the same hollow mantra heard before our farming sector was crippled by imported meat, weak welfare rules, and unfair pricing under past trade deals. If you can't clearly say, "Yes, I will protect our farmers," you're already sliding toward betrayal. Starmer thinks he can straddle the middle ground, pleasing Trump's trade demands while soothing the countryside with eco-friendly platitudes. But British farmers have seen this story before, and this time they know exactly how it ends.
We're angry because we can't carry on farming anymore. It's also demoralising. You don't farm for the profits, you farm for your kids. No one owns a farm, you look after it to the next generation. When you're going to lose 20% of all you've ever worked for, your ancestors have worked for, people are very angry. So it means that a farm every 20, 35 years or whatever, when generations change and it gets a new manager or a new person in charge, it's just going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. 2 or 3 generations, it's gone.
Fight the tax, save our farms. No farmers, no food. No farmers, no food, no future. The atmosphere is very almost convivial. It's warming up a little, I'm pleased to say, and I'm joined now by Mo from the Countryside Alliance. Why are you guys here today?
Well, we've got to stand up to the Treasury over this awful, hideous tax. People here today have come from all across the country. The numbers are growing. The weather is pretty frightful, but these are the conditions that farmers work in on a daily basis to put food on our tables and keep the countryside the beautiful place that everybody knows and loves. It's so important that we stand against this tax. The Treasury's numbers, very dubious. They're not stacking up with DEFRA's or the National Farmers Unions, people that know what they're talking about. Rachel Reeves needs to rethink this tax, and I hope that they're listening to people here today.
When tariffs hit and British beef is buried under American red tape and chlorinated chicken, Starmer will tweet about pragmatism in global trade. Meanwhile, rural Britain will be poorer and angrier. MPs then closed in on the issue Starmer can't escape, the NHS crisis. From Watford to St. Helier, hospital projects promised under Labour are stalled, decaying, or simply fictional. One MP delivered a line that should haunt Starmer throughout his term. People will die, and NHS staff will break.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Recently, the Prime Minister visited Epsom Hospital, where he committed to not just paper over the cracks in the NHS after years of Conservative lies. Yet on Monday, his government confirmed that our St Helier Hospital will develop these wounds and the hospital will crumble. Mr. Speaker, St Helier Hospital will not survive the delay this has introduced. People will die and NHS staff will break. So I ask the Prime Minister, will he apologise to my constituents as they wait years for a new hospital building? And will he visit the hospital with me to witness firsthand the dire situation our residents...
Before we go further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like, share, and subscribe for more exclusive off-script coverage. Let's continue. It's now revealed that half of Labour's promised new hospitals are delayed. And what did Starmer do? He reached for politics' oldest excuse, blaming the previous government.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he's right to raise the concerns of his constituents, and I'm not surprised that they're frustrated or even angry at the lack of delivery under the previous government. There was no credible plan. Mr. Speaker, they shut. Let me read the Infrastructure and Projects Authority's verdict on what we inherited. This is their words. There are major issues...
Prime Minister. Mr. Phil, I expect better from the front bench. And I'm sure you're going to show better, Prime Minister.
I think he was Liz Truss's right-hand man, so we wouldn't expect anything else. The verdict on the plan that he is talking about was this. Major issues, this is their record, they should be chuckling, major issues on the definition, the schedule, the budget, the quality and the delivery. It was a fiction, always was.
But this time, it didn't work because Labour campaigned on fixing hospitals. Starmer looked voters in the eye and promised delivery. Now, 9 months later, hospitals are still crumbling, and the only thing being built is a growing list of excuses. Then came the Heathrow moment. Hypocrisy, so heavy it could pave the third runway itself.
Expanding London's airports and building a third runway at Heathrow would be incredibly irresponsible in the midst of a climate emergency, flying in the face of the Climate Change Committee's advice. The Prime Minister clearly knows this because he and 7 Cabinet colleagues voted against a third runway at Heathrow in 2018. So can the Prime Minister confirm what is his position now?
In 2018, Keir Starmer and 7 senior cabinet allies voted against Heathrow expansion on climate grounds. They made a spectacle of saving the planet, protecting future generations, and cutting carbon. Fast forward to 2025. And what does he say now when asked if he still opposes it?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to comment on speculation. He knows that we are, as a government, we are committed to growth, we're committed to the aviation sector and to our climate obligations. But I'm not going to take lectures from those who talk about climate change but oppose vital renewable infrastructure in their own constituency.
This is national infrastructure policy, not tabloid gossip. You can't claim climate leadership while dodging your stance on the country's most polluting expansion plan. Either you support the third runway or you oppose it. But Starmer wants both. He wants the global investment tied to Heathrow expansion and the green halo from COP photo ops. So he dodges, deflects, and hopes no one notices. When questions shifted to the economy, Starmer stepped up like a man convinced he was giving a TED Talk.
When it comes to his budget, which raised taxes, raised borrowing and raised public spending as a strategy for economic growth, when is the Prime Minister going to accept the words of the Labour Prime Minister in the 1970s, who explained to a Labour conference that in all candour that option no longer exists, and that the only way to obtain sustained economic growth will be by cutting taxes and cutting regulations?
In response, Starmer name-dropped the IMF, the OBR, and nearly anyone who had praised Britain at any point in recent months.
He must have missed recent reports. The ONS has just said that we've got the highest investment for 19 years. The PwC have just said that this is the second best place to invest in the world. The IMF have just upgraded growth, now saying we're predicted to be the fastest growing major European economy. Wages are up, but inflation is down. That's after just...
But inflation is down, he said. The facts didn't care about his carefully curated praise. Mortgages are rising. Borrowing is soaring. Retail sales are collapsing. Yet Starmer still insists this counts as a recovery.
Mr. Speaker, he knows why we're having an emergency budget, because since the last one, since the Chancellor delivered her budget in October, growth is down, borrowing is up, and she has destroyed business confidence. Does the Prime Minister now regret raising taxes on...
2-year mortgages have hit 5%. Borrowing is billions above forecast. Retail sales have slumped. Does the Prime Minister still believe the Chancellor is doing a good job?
I thought she was just reading out their last record.
Then came the environmental betrayal, not at airports, but in towns literally drowning. MPs describe homes sliding into rivers, families forced out, businesses wiped away, and still Starmer showed no urgency at all.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From Stafford to Eccleshall to Loggerheads, my constituents are sick and tired of having their properties and businesses devastated by flooding. The last Conservative government did not invest enough in flood prevention measures to stop this from happening. Can the Prime Minister assure me and my constituents that he will prioritise flood prevention investment before the homes and businesses on Sandon Road in Stafford disappear completely?
He reached for the same dusty book of excuses. We inherited the worst flood defenses in history. Fine. But Starmer has had nearly a year. What has he done? He tossed out a figure, £2.4 million in investment, as if it were a winning lottery ticket. No details, no plan, no urgency. Just another soggy promise amid the storm of government failure.
Prime Minister.
Well, my sympathies go to her constituents. Far too many are experiencing terrible flooding. I visited there last year and met them, and they talked me through the misery of their experience. We inherited flood defences in their worst condition on record. We are now investing £2.4 million in flood defences to better protect communities, and committed £60 million to support farmers impacted by the extreme.
And the message was unmistakable. If your home isn't near a swing seat, don't expect help. Another MP then turned attention to Starmer's two-tier education policy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Across England, there are 95,000 students who attend non-academised sixth form colleges. Of those colleges, 32 are currently on strike because the government didn't settle the funding for them back in last summer. I wonder, Could the Prime Minister tell me whether he intended to create a two-tier education system for sixth form students who are the victims of the COVID crisis?
Prime Minister.
We have put more money into colleges, and it's really for them to deal with these disputes, as she knows.
As strikes shut down sixth form colleges, with 32 institutions walking out, Starmer couldn't even offer a serious response. He passed responsibility like a hot coal, blaming colleges for underfunding and disruption. That's not leadership. You don't shrug off an education crisis while claiming to be the party of opportunity. You either fund the system or admit you've abandoned it. This isn't just about pay, it's about class. A two-tier education system where academy students get support and everyone else gets scraps. The government talks about leveling up, but Starmer is leveling down expectations. The silence from his office said it all. No emergency talks, no funding boost, just delay and deflection. What do you think? Is Starmer the right person to lead the UK? Is he putting party before country despite claiming otherwise? Share your thoughts below. Should Starmer always be challenged by MPs so he's forced to think about the British people? Want more videos like this? Like, share, and subscribe for more OFF script updates.